Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This tutorial video is for my third project using Cartabella's Farmhouse Christmas paper collection. I'll be using my scraps that I have left, which is very little that you see here on the table. This is the biggest piece that I have. I'm going to be using the scraps of the Artisan Craft and Artisan White, the sticker sheets that are left, and then I'm going to add in from my own stash some poinsettia and red Christmas flowers. I'm also going to use some stamps. I have snowflake stamps here. I'm going to use these in a Christmas music stamp. I have some wooden snowflakes. So when you're using leftovers from a collection to make a project, sometimes you have to go to your stash and add in what you have. So this is all of what I had in my Christmas box. I have not bought anything new. I have larger twine. This is larger than button string. I have two of the little doilies. I have, I'm going to use I have a frame here that I pulled out of my stash because I wanted a thicker frame in this shape. I'm going to use 2 sheets of the 12 by 12 white artisan cardstock. And then I also have a good assortment still of the ephemera and elements that came with this mega bundle that I received from Country Craft Creations. I have some of the puppy stickers left. I have some of the enamel dots. I have the frames and tags. There was 2 packs, different elements of that, the flatter ones, and then I have some chipboard pieces. So I have all of that to add in and work with. So I have a lot of that left versus the paper, because you can't use as much of this in a project without overloading it. So I'll use that. And what I'm going to create is 2 page layouts. Now you can do any size that you want. Like I said, I'm using 2 of the white artisan cardstock because it's nice heavy weight cardstock for layout. Mine are going to be 6.5 wide by 8.5 tall. That's a strange size, I know, but that's because several years ago when I was a Graphic 45 brand ambassador, I did a 2-page layout that size that goes in their mixed media book, I believe, and I really like that size. I haven't finished that album. It was for my husband and I's Mississippi River trip, but I hope to finish it one day. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool to do some Christmas page layouts and different holiday layouts or special occasions in that size. So I'm going to start making some that size and have them ready to maybe use the same type of album or design an album later on. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is sort of a challenge tutorial. I am not going to show you a finished project at the very beginning because I haven't made anything yet. I wanted to show you everything I was going to use. I'm going to film me designing and making these 2 layouts, and then I will show you the finished one at the end. So the tutorial will start right after my intro here on the video, so stay tuned. So I have cut my 2 pieces of cardstock down to the 8.5 by 6.5 wide. So each one of these is going to be a mini page album, scrapbook page layout. Kept my other papers because I might need them for something else or to make mats on this. So first thing I'm going to do is I have a stamping block. Now the reason I'm using a stamping block instead of my Tim Holtz stamp platform is because I don't care whether these are real crisp or not. These are going to be actually backgrounds, sort of. So I have this first one here, and it is Christmas music notes. So I'm going to use my black, my Chet Noir, and my Prima on this. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. And I'm just going to use this one once. So I want to ink it up fairly good. Get enough ink on there. And I'm just going to put it down here on this right-hand layout. And I'm looking at my music notes, make sure I don't have it upside down. There we go. I'm just going to put it right here in this corner on the left-hand side. So it's still inked pretty good. You can see that. And I'm going to peel this off. Now I'm going to use some snowflakes. This is for background. I have different sizes here. So I'm going to use this festive berry texture to it. I don't do much mixed media. Actually, don't do it any at all. I used to, but I do paper crafts, and for me, my space area, lots of mixed media, and my paper crafts just don't go together very well, so I don't do it much. Well, those are pretty, aren't they? So let's put some more. We're going to do it on both sides. These are Tim Holtz stamps that I had in my stash, both the music notes and these. So I want some down here over this. Some of these probably will not show up. And I'm going to get a scrap piece of paper here to put under this so I can go off the page with some of these, like that one. And I'm putting them in different areas that I know will be covered up, but that's okay because that's what I want. So let's take the other one. So what I'm doing actually is making my own background with this, with these stamps and inks, especially when you don't have, you know, a lot of the larger pieces of paper to design with. So and I'm not worrying too much about these and whether they ink really well, because like I said, a lot of it's going to be covered up with paper, and some of them are overlapping, and that's okay. And I think I was thinking about doing some green ones. I don't know. I like that red. So I think we're just going to leave it like that. And I'm going to clean up these stamp pads real quick. So I've stamped my bases for my scrapbook pages, sorry. And next I'm going to make some other paper treatments that you can make if you don't have enough paper. So I've taken scraps of my craft. I may not use all of this, but I've taken these scraps. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to score 1/8 of an inch all the way across on these. This gives it that corrugated paper look. If you don't have any of that, you can just make your own, or like the inside of cardboard, but I don't want cardboard. I want the actual paper. So I am just scoring all these, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then we'll start doing some designing on my scrapbook pages. So I finished scoring. I did two pieces, the longer one and the shorter one. Scoring and making the little corrugated look. I'll try to bring it up to the camera. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's got the little ridges. And I also took my water mister bottle and misted and did some drops. So some of these snowflakes are now got more blobs on them, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want it all perfect anyway. So I'm going to work on this one first. I have a couple of sketches that I did. First I did it real little and really couldn't tell what I was doing, so I made it bigger. So I have a couple of sketches that I'm working with sort of on what I want to do. So I cut this border. These borders, I love the barn and everything, but just wasn't what I wanted. I like these poinsettia flowers here. So I'm going to cut this one down to, get my ruler, 2 inches by 7. So it doesn't fill the whole page. So that's kind of going to go right there. So I guess I'll go ahead and get started and gluing this down some. And I am using my art glitter glue. Now I don't have any pictures in mind for this particular layout just yet, but I am going to go ahead and put photo mats, and then I would just crop pictures or print them that size when I'm ready to put them on the pages. So as I said, some of these snowflakes will be covered up, and I'm just going to kind of lay this in. It doesn't have to be perfect. Got some left here on the side. And then this corrugated, I think I'm going to just tear. It's kind of rustic looking. And I'm just going to lay it. It was not in my sketch. Off center it here. I'll make it a little smaller. Jaggedy on all edges. Artisan cardstock doesn't want to tear very well. There we go. So I'm just going to put that right in there. I'm just using a little bit of it. Like I said, I wasn't going to use a lot of it, but I went ahead and scored it anyway. So I'm going to drop it down just a tiny bit. So this way some of your snowflakes are showing, kind of peeking out. Next, I had this frame. This doesn't even come from the collection. It's when I had my stash chipboard frame, and I glued craft cardstock to the back of it. And I'm thinking, see, it's going to go about right there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue it down. Starting to cover up my poinsettias. That's okay. So that right there. And I did want to use a little doily in there. So to put this little doily underneath, I'm going to lift up this corner right here. Just kind of pull it up a little bit and see how far underneath I can get it down in here. I think that'll work. So I'm going to put some glue on the back of this doily, and I switched software programs, so you may notice hopefully that it's a little smoother now than it was the video. I am having issues with filming and uploading and exporting and all of that, so I'm trying different things to try to get my projects done. Okay, so let me set this other one aside. So there's that little doily right there. And then the next thing I am going to add, I think I'm going to add this snowflake. It's an ornament, and I'm just cutting the little string off, and I'm going to hide the little hole here where and it's wood with glitter on it. I've had these for several years. So that's going to go right there. But I was going to put some underneath, but I think I'll glue the center of it right on that chipboard, and that will hold it in place without having to put any lifting chipboard underneath. So I'm going to put that right there like that. And then where this hole is, this poinsettia is going to go in there. Now I was going to put 2 pictures on here, but these page sizes pretty much limit you to just maybe 1 photo. So we'll see. So we'll put that right there. Now then, that twine that I had that's thicker. So I'm going to make a bow with the heavier twine. And I'm just going to kind of 3 or 4 times here. Loop it around my fingers and bring it through, and then wrap it under itself to tighten a knot. I have tried various bow makers, and I always end up coming back to this method, except of course today it's not tying really well. There we go. So you pull that knot, pull those tails, and then I like to tie another knot just to secure it. And there we have a little heavier twine bow. I'm gonna pull this, there we go. Play with that. I'm just gonna trim these ends off about the same. And that is going to go, so that knot didn't want to catch. There we go. These are gonna go right in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue that and then let it dry before I continue on. Kind of hold it there and let it dry. So I am going to add a photo mat right up here beside this frame one. So I cut 2.5 by 3 out of craft cardstock. Sorry about that, my phone is dinging. Normally I edit that out, so I may or may not on this one. And then I cut white cardstock 2 3/8 by 2 7/8. Okay, to kind of mat that right here like that, because I wanted a little bit of the craft contrast around it. So this is going to go under here with just a little bit of that doily peeking out. So I'm going to lift this a little more right here. So you don't see that much of the doily, but you see enough of it down at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to take this up a little bit. So we can see it right there. Okay, so I've got it there. I like how that looks. Now then, what else did I have planned? I have this little tag here. Now this was a chipboard piece, but I didn't want the chipboard thickness. So you can peel the top layer off. So I peeled mine off, and I want this to go here, but I'm going to trim this down a little bit because I don't want it as tall as this. I just want it kind of peeking like that. And I wanted it flat. I didn't want it the height of the chipboard. So just using the outer layer and put some glue on it and then stick that in right about there. So based on how many of these element pieces, I'm not using much pattern paper yet. I will more on the other one. The element pieces I have, I could do several scrapbook layouts this size. I'm not going to do it here on the video. I'm only going to do the 2. But as I was saying, you can do quite a few if you wanted to. So next, I wanted a little, these chipboard stockings, I think. And decide which one I like. I like this black and white one here. So I'm going to put that one on the edge of this frame. And I'm totally like leaving the actual idea I had of my, let me pull it down some. There, I wanted some of that craft show idea I had on my layout that I drew, but this is basically still the same. I was going to use another flower, maybe. Perhaps a different one. Let's see, no. I think I want it smaller. Now I do this a lot with flowers. I find my smaller petals and I split it in the center. But I want the leaves. I wanted a smaller flower like that. And then I want the leaves though, so I'm gonna pull them off. So that's how I change the size of some of my flowers. That one's no good anymore. So we're gonna glue this right here, and then the flower on top. And there's still, you can still slide your picture underneath when you go to add that. And then this one up here, of course. So there's that, like that. And I had some banners I was going to use. I'm kind of liking the way it looks right now. I don't know, let's see. These banners were going to go, this was going to be different, so I've changed it up. Got this banner here. I don't know, I do like that. I'll put this banner right here with the doily and these snowflakes kind of on the edge there. Okay, and then we have these dots that we can add. Do I want that or the crafty color? Black. I like black. So I'll put a dot of glue, and we're going to take a medium size. I think I'll have to get my smaller scissors here. I like to use my scissors to grab my enamel dots and then just plop it right there. So there's that. We could put an enamel dot up here, but I think I'm just going to leave it there with that one. So that is this page layout. Now do we want an enamel dot in the middle down here on this bow? Let's put some glue there, and I'm going to grab another medium dot in the black, and we'll put it right there. Now I know this is thicker than what you normally want for a scrapbook layout, but I like mine thick with the depth, and I don't put them in plastic sleeves usually when they're like this. So there's page 1. Now if you want to add some sparkle to it, we have the sparkly snowflake. We could do some, what have we got here? Crystal glaze. Let me see. Could add a little dimension to just a few of these, like on the tips of the snowflakes if you wanted to, and maybe the centers of some of them. Not all of them, just a few of them, just some raised depth to them there. Okay, I'll let that dry, and I like the imperfection of the different snowflakes that I stamped. Oh yeah, I have one more little piece I wanted to add. I had Merry and Bright. I wanted to put it somewhere, and I think I'm going to put it right there on the bottom. Except that I was going to put something here. I'm going to pause for just a minute. Okay, so I found the little chipboard piece that I wanted, but it was too big, so I trimmed it down just around the verse. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Matted that to some of the green from the collection, the paper, and I'm just going to glue this down. And this is where I originally had planned to have something here, so I'm going to put it kind of right there with these snowflakes sticking out, like that. And then the little Merry and Bright, this has got to stick down. Merry and Bright is going to go up here at the top somewhere, maybe on top of the frame. So we add some glue to this little chipboard piece, and the first layout page, oops, is done. So this is going to go right underneath that leaf, kind of. Okay, so there's what the first one looks like. I'll show them in a photograph. And so now we're ready to work on the second one. For the second page layout, we're going to use more scraps of the paper than we did on the first one. So I found scraps of paper in different widths, and I feel like I cut this one down. So whatever length you want to do. So I'm going to glue strips of pattern paper scraps onto this page. So it will cover some of the snowflakes, and some will just be peeking out. So I'll put that first one right there. And then I have this cranberry one. This is not from the collection, it's just a scrap of artisan cardstock that I had left from another project. So I'm just going to, and wherever you put it, it doesn't have to be centered or anything like that. I like this holly and berries. So, and whatever width you have, you can trim them down, you can cut them shorter. Put that there. It's kind of just a stacking thing. I have this plaid one here that's wider. I really like it, but I'm going to go up higher with it. A bit higher here. And then I have this section of a poinsettia with some of the plaid on it there on the side. So I'm just going to kind of overlap it maybe a little bit, or drop it down some. About right there. So see how you can use your scraps to create your layout. Sorry if I hit the camera. Then I had this little one of the black and white, and I'm going to put that one up there, I think. Black and white snowflakes, I mean. Oh, can we get... Then I had the doily. I was going to put that kind of up there at the top. And I had this star chipboard piece I wanted to use. I need to trim off where I punched it out. Sometimes you have little notches where you punched out where it was attached to the chipboard sheet. I'll just try to cut those off. So I'm going to put that right there. And next I had the snowflake. Snowflake, and this one has a red string on it. I must have been using it for something else, so I'm going to take that off. And this one's going to go right in here. Let me see if I got the prettiest side. There we go. A wood snowflake. And this one will have just one photo mat. Take the flower, and we'll have only one poinsettia. I'm going to glue that right there. Yes, I know I forgot to cover that up. It's okay. We'll put something there. We have the stamp, and now we need to add our photo mat. So I like the corrugated here, and I'm going to bring it down some. So we ended up losing that though. well, it just has to be. You just have to lose some things sometimes. So this corrugated piece, background piece, is about 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 square. So I'm going to push it down in here. I'm going to get some of that poinsettia showing, just like this. Very little, but a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to cut a piece of white cardstock. And what did I say? This was 3 1/4. So let's go with maybe a 3 by 3. I'm sorry I'm off camera, but my trimmer is over here on the side. So I cut it 3 by 3, and that's going to go down in there. And this I'll re-glue again because I want to leave it loose around the edges so that you can slide a photo in there. So this is the photo mat. We're going to center it in here. So you don't really see that much of the cord texture of that paper, but then I'm going to turn this around so that we hide this hole. So the glue goes right there in the center and on the side with the hole. So that's going to tuck in right like that. So the picture can still go in there. Okay, and we have some pieces of this stuff. And I'm going to glue a little bit of it around to give some texture. This is some of the ones that I tore out like that. Maybe another piece up here. Make sure we're still recording. Okay, and the twine. I had another stocking here that I like. I'm going to put that. And I'm just going to put the glue on the left side of the stocking and the bottom so that that photo can still slide in underneath. We're going to put it like there. And then I'm deciding where I want my twine bow. So I'll wrap this around a couple of times here like that. Put that tail off so I can stick it between, whoops, my fingers, the V. Bring it down, pull it down. Glue on my fingers is wanting to stick. So then you take the end of it and stick it under itself, that last wrap piece of string. Pull it and then tie another knot. So it's almost too short. Let me grab it there. There we go. Take that, I'll slide it off, and so we have a twine bow. I'm going to tie it a little tighter there. And then I'll decide. I'm thinking I want it up here. So right in here underneath at the very tip of the star, put that bow right there. Start drying. And of course, to match the other one, I'm going to put a enamel dot on the center. I'm not catching that one very good. Sorry about that. Whoops. We'll grab another one. Lost that one. Well, it's on my table, but okay. Here we go right there. And then we're going to bring these tails down a little bit. Okay, I think I like that one too. So both of them together, opposite each other in an album, would look like that. Okay, so that concludes this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please be sure to click on subscribe and then the bell after you subscribe so that you'll receive notification every time I upload a new video. And also check out countrycraftcreations.com for your crafting supplies, your artisan cardstock. This collection that I use, the papers and the ephemera, is Cartabella's Farmhouse Christmas. So right now, while I'm doing the video, it is still in stock, and she may be restocking, but you want to check that at countrycraftcreations.com. So there you are. I have plenty that I could do. A couple of more layouts, which I may do on my own, but this concludes my design team projects using this paper collection from Country Craft Creations, Cartabella's Farmhouse Christmas. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll take a few pictures and share those in the video so you can see it better. Thanks. Bye-bye.